Hello dear students. Today we'll start a new chapter, chapter number 6, Molecular Basis of Inheritance. A very important chapter. Not only it is the backbone of genetics, it is also the basis for applied biology, that is biotechnology. So in this chapter, we will be dealing with various aspects of genetics at the molecular level. In previous chapter, that is the principles of inheritance and variations, we studied about various laws of inheritance, various theories. They were mainly based on observations. Not much was known about what happens inside a cell, how the gene controls the activities inside the cell. In this chapter, we will be studying about how the flow of information takes place inside a cell, how these genes are regulated, how they are interacting with each other. So we will cover various aspects of genetics at molecular level. So very interesting topic, very interesting chapter. Today we will start with the first topic, that is the DNA. You all know DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. What is DNA? Chemically, DNA is a biomolecule. You studied in class 11. It is a polynucleotide. Polynucleotide means it is made up of many nucleotides. And these nucleotides may be just one chain or there may be two chains. So the first part of the topic includes the number of these polynucleotides in different organisms. This is very important, can be asked for 1 mark. Like if you see, I have written few names of the organisms. One is bacteriophage, Psi into 174. It is a bacteriophage which is having DNA as genetic material, but that DNA is only single polynucleotide chain and it contains about 5386 nucleotides in it. You must know this number. Likewise, bacteriophage lambda. It is also having DNA, but the DNA is having two chains. There are two polynucleotide chains. Therefore, the total number of the DNA base pairs, this is very important. Generally, DNA is having two polynucleotide chains. So, the unit we use is BP, which stands for base pairs. We calculate the length of DNA in terms of base pairs. You must know this figure. So bacteriophage lambda has 48,502 base pairs in it. Likewise, if you compare the Escherichia coli, E. coli, it's a bacteria. It contains 4.6 into 10 raised to the power 6 base pair of DNA. And when you see in case of human haploid content inside a cell, it contains 3.3 into 10 raised to the power 9 base pairs. If I ask you diploid, how will it be? How much it will be? When I say diploid human DNA content, it will be 6.6 into 10 raised to the power 9 base pairs. So, these DNA molecules are long chain polynucleotide. Let us first recapitulate what is a polynucleotide. We studied in class 11th, but the structure, molecular structure of polynucleotide is very important. Let us first see the single polynucleotide chain and then a double polynucleotide chain. Then we will study the model of the DNA. This is a molecule of a polynucleotide chain. which we studied in class 11th also. Do you remember it? So this polynucleotide chain is made up of a backbone, which is made up of alternate deoxyribose sugar and phosphate group. You can see, and it shows a polarity, that is 5 prime to 3 prime. What does it mean? It means at the 5th prime position there will be always the phosphate group, and on the 3 prime position there will be a hydroxyl group. Also, at one position of every deoxyribose there will be nitrogen bases. These nitrogen bases may be adenine, thymine, guanine or cytosine. Let's see this with the help of the diagram. Now I will explain the same diagram with the help of a simple diagram which you will understand in better way. You know that a polynucleotide chain is made up of alternate deoxyribose sugars and phosphate group. And in this molecule, polarity is very important. What do you mean by polarity? Polarity means the position of carbon atom. We describe the molecule in terms of the position of carbon atom in deoxyribose sugar. So if you see this deoxyribose sugar, this is carbon position 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this polynucleotide chain, the backbone will always have the phosphate at 5th position. So that is called 5 prime. Got it? And it will always have the last this deoxyribose will always have a hydroxyl at 3 prime, 3rd position of carbon. Therefore, this becomes 3 prime. So when I say 3 prime to 5 prime, 3 prime will always have the hydroxyl group and 5 prime will always have a phosphate group by rule. Now this has become the backbone, and these two are attached to each other with the help of a bond called as phosphodiester bond, because phosphate group is forming one ester bond here, one ester bond here. So it becomes a phosphodiester bond. Okay, so this forms the backbone. Now at 1 prime position of every deoxyribose, it will be having any one nitrogen base out of 4 nitrogen bases. What are the 4 nitrogen bases? You already know. They are adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. So if this is having, here suppose it is having adenine and this is having cytosine. So this forms one single polynucleotide chain. Understood? Now this is a single chain, but most of the DNA are having double polynucleotide chain. That also let us study through it with your book first. Now let's focus on the double stranded polynucleotide chain. You can see there are 2 polynucleotide chains, one showing 5 prime to 3 prime polarity, but the other chain is anti-parallel, showing 3 prime to 5 prime polarity. And at every deoxyribose sugar at 1 prime position there are various nitrogen bases. So the nitrogen bases may be A, T, G, C. But if you compare the other nitrogen bases which are attached to them are showing complementary base pairing. You can see A is always paired with T only, and that is vice versa. A with T and T with A. Likewise, G with C and C with G. When there are A and T, they are held together by two hydrogen bonds. They are not double bonds, they are two hydrogen bonds. Whereas when G and C are there are three hydrogen bonds. So this is a structure, typical structure of a double-stranded polynucleotide chain. Now let us see this with the help of diagram again. Now let's again see that double-stranded polynucleotide chain with the help of a simple diagram. You can see here, these are the two polynucleotide chains. They are anti-parallel. What is anti-parallel? Here you can see polarity. It is 3' to 5'. Here it is a 3' position having hydroxyl. Here it is 5' position having phosphate. If you see this chain, this is opposite. Here the 3' is there at the top having hydroxyl and 5' is at the base having phosphate group. So this is anti-parallel. Now you can see at 1' it is having nitrogen base adenine. So the other deoxyribose will have the nitrogen base thymine and they will be held together by two hydrogen bonds. Likewise, if you see here, if there is cytosine, the other deoxyribose will have guanine and they will have three hydrogen bonds. So this is a double-stranded polynucleotide chain. Okay. So now we will study the most famous model of DNA proposed by Watson and Crick, which is called as double helical model of DNA. Before going into the details of double helical model, we must know that in 1869 itself, Frederick Miescher had observed DNA molecule in the nucleus of pus cells and named it as nuclein. But at that time, because of the technical limitations, the isolation of such a long polymer could not be done. As a result, the structure of DNA was not known in detail for a long time. Only in 1953, James Watson along with Francis Crick proposed DNA double helix model based on the work, X-ray diffraction work done by Maurice Wilkin and Rosalind Franklin. They explained that DNA is a double helical structure having two strands and complementary base pairs. They also compiled the work done by Irwin Chargaff, who had explained the complementary base pairing rule. He had explained that for a double-stranded DNA, the ratios between adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine are constant and equals to 1. This gave a very sturdy structure to DNA molecule. So today, if we know one strand of DNA, we can make the another strand very well because there is complementary base pairing. If we go into the details of the structure, we know that the backbone is made up of alternate deoxyribose and phosphate groups, and these two chains, they show polarity and they are anti-parallel, and they are attached to the nitrogen bases, which are purines and pyrimidines, and purine is always paired with pyrimidine. As a result, there is a stable structure. If you see the dimension, one spiral of DNA is 3.4 nanometer in length, having 10 base pairs. As a result, the distance between two base pairs will be 0.34 nanometer. And if we see the width, it is 2 nanometer. As a result, the plane of one base pair always stacks over the other, which gives a very sturdy structure to the molecule of DNA. and it remains stable. Let us now summarize the whole model, that is double helical DNA model given by Watson and Crick, into a very simple way. You all know that this double helical model, for which they received the Nobel Prize, they only compiled various works done by different scientists of their time, which is again a very remarkable job. Now, the most amazing thing about DNA model is that it shows that DNA is a very stable structure, and they compared this with a spiral staircase. So these spirals are two strands showing alternate deoxyribose and phosphate group, which we have already discussed, and they are anti-parallel. These strands are anti-parallel. And what is anti-parallel? They are showing polarity. One chain is showing polarity 3' to 5' and other is showing 5' to 3'. So they are anti-parallel. And if you take the length of one complete spiral, it is always 3.4 nanometers. And the width will always be 2 nanometers. And if it is 3.4 nanometers, always there will be 10 base pairs in that 3.4 nanometers. So we can calculate the distance between two successive base pairs. They will be 0.34 nanometers. And also, these base pairs, they show complementary base pairing, which means a purine will always pair with pyrimidine. What is purine? Purine means those nitrogen bases which are having double rings, like adenine and guanine. Adenine will always pair with thymine. This is purine, this is pyrimidine. And they will be held together by 2 hydrogen bonds. Likewise, guanine is a purine and cytosine is pyrimidine. Pyrimidine means it will have only a single ring in that nitrogen base, and there will be 3 hydrogen bonds. As per Chargaff's rule, we have already studied that the total number of purines will be equal to total number of pyrimidines. So if you write a formula, this will be A plus G is equal to T plus C, or you can say the ratio of purines and pyrimidines will always be 1. Okay, so I am sure now you have understood this double helical model. This is very important diagram. It can be asked for 3-mark question. I hope you have understood the structure of DNA. Please practice it. Thank you.